Hey, it's AAA Wednesday, which stands for Ask Alyssa Anything. In these weekly sessions, I'm answering questions you've left in the comments about the publishing industry and writing a better book. It's a small way for me to give back to this amazing community of more than 30,000 writers and storytellers. So if you're new here and you haven't yet joined us, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I promise you won't regret it. In addition to doing these Q&A sessions, I also publish weekly videos with either deep dives into the publishing industry, which is my professional background, or I give tactical writing advice from my experiences as a professional book editor. Before we get into the questions, just one small favor I'll ask. If you can hit that thumbs up button, it really does a lot to help my videos reach more viewers just like you. All right, so let's get into the great questions today. First one here. When working with beta readers, how do we distinguish feedback that can really help improve the book from comments that are meant to be constructive but are derived from personal preferences, i.e. about something that can appeal to one but repel another? The bottom line with any feedback that you receive, be it from a beta reader, a critique partner, or even a professional editor, is that if it doesn't resonate with you, then don't move forward with that feedback. This is your story at the end of the day. And just as writing your story is a subjective act, giving feedback is also highly subjective. You might get comments from one editor or beta reader that are completely different from another editor or beta reader. That's just the nature of what we're doing. Writing a book is a creative act, and there's no right or wrong answer. That's why I personally love this industry so much, but it can also be confusing when you're trying to parse through constructive notes that you've gotten. I would say that if there's a standalone comment from the reviewer's notes that seems to be derived from their personal preferences, or maybe they misinterpreted something, then you might not need to rush to make that change in your manuscript itself, unless it really does resonate with you or you think it's an easy fix that really doesn't matter one way or another. Where I would give it a bit more weight is if you're hearing the same thing from multiple beta readers, critique partners, or editors. In that case, then I would take a hard look at that piece of feedback and see why it might not be initially gelling with you. Maybe talk deeper with some of those people who gave you that feedback to see if you can distill down what the issue really is and how you can address it in a way that solves the problem they noted, but also retains your vision for the story. Because at the end of the day, as I said, it is your story alone. And it is always in your power to determine which pieces of feedback you want to implement and which ones you want to set aside. Before we get into the next questions on deck, I wanted to let you know about a free resource I created specially for my YouTube community. The link is in the description below to download my free story self-assessment worksheet. If you have a current work in progress, I highly recommend grabbing it. It's a fun, simple quiz designed to help you see your story from a new perspective. You're likely so deep in it, you can't see the forest from the trees anymore, and I created it to help you identify those weak areas that you can improve on the next draft. Downloading that resource is going to opt you into my newsletter, Chapter Break, where I'm interviewing publishing industry insiders and successfully published authors. So many of you are writing to me saying you're getting a ton of value out of the newsletter, so I'm really excited to continue growing that as well. If you want to go straight to the newsletter, the link is also in the description. Here's the next question. Great insight into the industry, but I have to admit to finding the whole thing aggressively homogenous and shuttered. The apparent requirements are bordering on the absurd. Some places suggest I should have employed editors myself before approaching. The prices some of these services ask for are crazy. What is the point of putting down $5,000 on a project, then go through all the same processes with an agent and get $5,000 back if you're lucky? Traditional publishing appealed to me because I'm not good at selling myself and don't have the money for such things up front. At first, an agent sounded ideal, someone who has the resources and knowledge available to get a book into a saleable state and is invested in the success. Worth the money at that point. Only getting a fraction of the takings is fine by me. If the money was there, I would happily pay someone for that kind of work, but if I was doing that, then I would self-publish. Where is the incentive to put all the money and effort into finding an agent? It sounds to me like it is on the author to do everything and pay everything for the privilege of giving an agent money and stressing yourself out. I totally understand where you're coming from with your frustration. The traditional publishing industry is old-fashioned in a lot of ways. It involves gatekeeping to get up to the big 5 publishing houses and many other smaller traditional publishers, and getting an agent's representation is ultimately very competitive. I want to speak specifically to the comment about you being required to hire an editor at a high price point in order to query literary agents. Now, full disclosure, I am a developmental book editor who works with authors who are represented already, as well as querying authors, as well as self-publishing authors. And in many cases, I do work with authors before they are querying literary agents to make sure their manuscript is as strong as it can possibly be. But working with a professional editor is by no means a requirement, something you have to do in order to get a literary agent. So any website from an editor or from an alleged literary agent or from an alleged publisher that says you must hire an editor prior to your work being considered is false. Some people do choose to work with professional editors prior to querying because finding a literary agent is competitive and they want to invest that in their story to try to give it the best chances possible for traditional publishing. But there are plenty of authors who self-edit rigorously, work with critique partners or beta readers extensively, and find a literary agent on their own without paying for anything. So I just wanted to clarify that it is not a requirement to pay upfront for anything to get a literary agent's representation. That said, I can't deny that it takes a lot of effort and energy to query literary agents, whether or not you are putting money into an edit of any kind. It's not necessarily fair or ideal by any means, but that is the process as it stands in the industry today. We have time for one more question today. Is it natural to have a healthy disdain for agents and the literary world in general? I feel the spirit from the previous comment coming into this one as well. The truth is that it's completely fine, it's normal, it's natural to be frustrated with parts of the publishing process. But no matter which publishing path you decide to take, remember that if it's not serving you, you can try other options. The literary world is quite broad. There is traditional publishing, and there is self-publishing, and there are smaller independent publishers. If you're seeking publication via one route and are not getting the results you want and you don't feel like it is something that you're enjoying, maybe try your hand at a different path to publication. You very well may be able to carve out your own home in the broader literary world elsewhere. I know I talk a ton about traditional publishing on my channel, which comes from a lot of you having interest in it and it being my professional background, but the literary world is much bigger than just that. So just know that, and there really is room for everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into today's sessions. If you are enjoying these Q&As, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button to let me know that you're enjoying them. And if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to join this amazing community. Before you head out, don't forget to grab your free story self-assessment worksheet and check out my newsletter link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching and happy writing.